Hello, my name is Mark, and I thank you so much for coming by today. Well, something came in the mail for me today, and I couldn't be more excited. I am so excited to open this box up and check out what's inside. And I already know what's in here, but I want to share with you what's in here, and I hope you get excited too. So come on along, let's check out this package here and do a little unboxing. So come on along and let's find out. So the first time I heard about Gallo watercolors was a couple years ago, and I checked out the website, and it just seemed like it was a bit out of my price range, especially for a product I wasn't familiar with, and there weren't many reviews about them, so I didn't know what to expect, and I wasn't going to chance it back then. But after talking to my friend Nan Schifris, who made the purchase of these watercolors and absolutely loved them, well, I thought it was time to really just inspect these a little closer. And then, of course, my friends Lana from Lana Goes Art and Nora from Nora K. I'll put their links down below so you can see their work online as well. They raved about these products and said you are going to love them, so here I am checking out Gallo watercolors. And I'll tell you a little bit about that story in just a minute, but right now I want to focus on this unboxing. So you can see there's some really neat little cards in here and things, including this dot card here for a new color they just came up with. It's Pietro Rosa, which I have a little bit of information about that, and Fabriano cards, which, if you're not familiar, I did 3 videos a few months ago, all based on Fabriano paper, and you can check those out. I'll put links below. So to see the Fabriano paper, also made in Italy, that was a treat for me as far as the familiarity. So I knew there was something I liked about this. I knew there was something that I was going to really enjoy working with these watercolors and working with Gallo. But it doesn't come together until you get to the product itself. Now, I love products. I love product packaging. I did it for most of my career as a corporate graphic artist. So seeing the packaging here is huge for me because this is all, like, this is watercolor paper for this little card. And the packaging really sells the product. So when you start your packaging with this little linen bag, it's a handmade linen bag, and you see that as the first layer of their packaging. That's awesome to me because that tells me there's secrets inside, and anytime you have a bag, there's always something inside. So when I pulled it out, I find this decorative paper. Now, this decorative paper is just gorgeous, and it's done by a company called Giulio Giannini El Figlio. They have been around since 1856, and they're on their 6th generation of family members. This is Maria Giannini. She's the one who's keeping it going now, and you should check out, I'll put a link to her stuff down below. And the paper is just gorgeous. It's all handmade, decorated, hand-painted, decorated paper. So that's an added bonus to surround this. So I love the fact that Gallo is not only promoting their work, but they're promoting Fabriano. They're promoting Giulio Giannini El Figlio, and they're also promoting other things as well. This is Arch's cold press watercolor paper that they have pre-printed the swatch card, which to me was just awesome because I usually make my own stock card, that I handwrite myself. But now we're getting into the tin. You can see, I'll talk about the paints in just a minute, but they're just gorgeous to look at. The tin itself is not unlike other tins. Now, it comes stock with a tray that holds 48 pans, and that's just fine for me. However, if I pull that tray out, I can get 65 pans of paint in there, just like my Daniel Smith setup. So you can see it's not unlike the Daniel Smith tin that I have. This is a Meaden tin that was designed, I believe, to hold about, I think it was maybe 24 pans. You can expand that to 48 pans by pulling out the tin. Now, this Schmincke tin was made for 18 pans, but if you pull the tray out, it'll expand to 28 pans. These are half pans, by the way. This Prima Marketing watercolor tin is made for 12 pans, but if you pull that tray out again, you can get up to 18 pans in there, half pans. So you can see that there's room to expand this set as well by pulling that tray out. For now, I think I'm just going to leave it as it is. There is one thing that bugs me about this this tray, and that is, you can see on the top 2 rows, there are metal tabs, and on the bottom 2 rows, there's metal tabs. The ones on the bottom rows, you can't get your brush over them easily. So when you're going to collect your paint, those bottom 2 rows, your ferrule of your brush actually taps on those metal tabs. So we'll get into that in a minute. I'll show you where that comes into play later. But right now, what I want to do is pull these tabs out a little bit so I can remove these pans of paint and I can inspect them more closely. And you'll see these are just The video isn't doing it justice. The colors on these are the actual colors of the paint. So these are actual swatches already wrapped around these half pans. But the colors are just gorgeous, and I hope I can convey even just a sense of how gorgeous these colors are. And you can see the name is printed on them. The swatch color is there. They tell you what color you're using on here so you don't get confused. And they even give you the pigment information on the side, which I think is fabulous. Most of these paper wraps, these are hand done. And so usually you can just push through and pull the half pan out of this little wrap. But some of them are a little sticky in there and a little tight. So I use my little prod here and I just kind of pulled this one off. But overall, you can push most of them right through. But I am just so impressed with the packaging alone, from the linen bag to the paper wrap from Giulio Giannini El Figlio to these little wraps around each pan. It is just absolutely stunning. But then to see this color and those little imperfections in there, I love the imperfections because that tells me it's made by a human being, not a machine. This is hand poured. And I just love the fact that someone else has touched this and has wrapped this. And there's so much love and passion that goes into making these paints. And that is what really attracted me to just set out and contacting this company to find out more information about their paints. And I'll get into that in a little bit. But boy, I'll tell you, from start to finish, this is a company that really prides itself on presentation and product. So you're not just getting a fancy looking, dud of a product, and you're not getting a high quality product that's wrapped in, brown paper. You're getting a high quality level of presentation and a high quality product. And again, there's so much more to talk about. For now, what I want to do is I want to fix each of these half pans in the tin. You can use a magnetic strip if you want and affix that to the bottom of the pan. I'm just going to use this. This is just putty here that you can get. And what I do is I affix this to the bottom of the half pan. So I've been doing this forever, ever since I've been building my own sets and buying empty half pans and filling them. This is just a great way to keep these pans in place. And what you do is you literally just snap it in. Once you close that metal tab back more, you push it back in, you can then snap this back into place and push down gently on it so the putty adheres to the tin. And once you're done, nothing moves around. It's solid. Nothing's going to go anywhere. And so I don't like when my pans shift around. I have a hard time painting when I'm dealing with pans shifting. So this putty technique keeps them from shifting. It does take a long time to unwrap each pan and put the putty on each pan, but it's so worth it in the end, and it just works great. Now, I don't use these mixing trays at all. I take them off of every single tin I've ever bought. They just get in my way. So some people love them and they use them all the time. For me, I don't use them. So what I do is I just poke one end of the wire out and then grab some pliers here, and I just sort of pull it out. You can see here I'm pulling gently and just straight out, and that wire comes out, the tray comes off, and I'm good to go. What I'll do is I'll keep that tray around. I don't want to get rid of it, because if I ever decide to change out trays or anything like that and maybe give it away or just expand this set a little more and put this back on, then I have it. So I'll put this in storage with my other supplies, and just so I won't lose it. But for me, I just don't use those trays. So here we have our finished set. Everything is unwrapped, fixed into the tray, and ready to go. The set also comes with a brush, and this brush, I've never used this brush before, and I wasn't aware of this company until I got the set. It's Tintoretto, also made in Italy, and this is a particularly interesting brush. It's a synthetic squirrel mop brush, which I don't use a lot of mop brushes. Now, this is from their Feltracco line, and this is Felice Feltracco is an illustrator that they collaborated together. Tintoretto and Feltracco collaborated together to create this brush. It's a really thin, lightweight brush with a short handle with a plastic ferrule and wire to hold it on there. And it's just really comfortable to use. It soaks up a ton of water, which I was really impressed with how much water it holds, especially for a synthetic brush. It's synthetic squirrel hair, so it just holds a ton of water. Again, I don't use mop brushes too often, and this is a smaller size. It's a 0. But if you're a fan of mop brushes, then you're going to love this brush. I just don't use it that much. And in fact, I did a test with it later, which I wasn't exactly happy with. So I'm just going to swatch out the colors onto the pre-printed card. again, it's pre-printed onto Arch's 300-pound cold press paper, which that alone is just awesome right there, because I usually make my own swatch card, and you have to handwrite everything out. Now, you can spell things wrong or make a big mess. So this saved me a ton of time. Plus, it's really neat looking, and I like that too. It's consistent with all the other things A. Gallo is presenting. But as you can see, once you start swatching, these colors are so gorgeous. They're vibrant and bold. Many of them are earthier tones, which I absolutely love. I don't love all the brighter, hotter colors. I like these, like this vermilion is just gorgeous. And this is one of the warmer colors that you'll find in the set, the more brighter colors. And every color in here is just amazing to look at. But the one thing that I will say, and I didn't expect this, oh, and by the way, this is the Pietra Rosa, that dot card I showed you. This is actually A. Gallo's video in their production of this. So they take the Potter's Pink pigment and add 2 other pigments to it to create Pietra Rosa. I can't wait to try that dot card, and I'll do that at another time. But this is just a clear way of showing. I've seen a lot of people mix paint before, and there's a lot of videos of people doing it out there. And this is such an old school traditional way of mixing paint, mulling it down and blending it together, and really, really understanding the old school, old traditional way of mixing paint. I've never done this before. I've thought about it many times, but I just would make a big mess of everything, so I don't even bother. But you can see that this is a passion of this team. Now, Alina Gallo has a team of 6 people. They're adding a 7th, and they are doing great right now. It's still a small company, and I love the fact that they are producing such a high volume of product with just a relatively small team. And I know they have a restock that comes like once a month, so they're working hard to get these out to their following, their community. And you can see here, these are all the swatches. I'm telling you, these are absolutely gorgeous. And the coolest thing is, when you paint with these, when I was doing the swatching, the smell of the rosemary oil, it just is hypnotic. It's just an amazing smell. And you can see here, this company is producing a lot of paints. There are a lot of sets being shipped out all over the world, and for a small company, they're doing good. And this is Alina Gallo here. This is from one of her videos. She herself is an incredible artist, and that is the first and foremost thing that really caught my attention. She's done work in other countries. She's taken on interests in other charities and other organizations like One Tree Planted. You can see this on their, you can go to their website. They are collaborators with that group. And Alina herself, you can see here, she's an amazing artist. This mural here is just stunning. And she's got a whole lot of work you can find on her Instagram page and online. But I definitely suggest checking out her work as well. So she's not only a fine artist in her own right, she also has embraced just the art of paint making, which to me is a skill that just goes beyond. So I wanted to test this on my own little drawing. Here you can see I did a sketch, and I wanted to do this this little sort of Italian scene, this Italian couple. Maybe they're friends, maybe they're siblings, maybe they're people who've been married for a long time. I don't know who they are, but this couple is clearly happy to be there, and they're happy to have some color added to their world. You can see here I'm having a tough time with that metal tab. That's what I was talking about before. That metal tab keeps me from getting, I have to go over that tab to get to the color in the pan. Where in the top 2 rows, the metal tab is on the top side, so you don't have that problem. So that's my only complaint about this set, and it has nothing to do with the paints. It is the tin itself. Not a big deal and not a deal breaker, but just a little bit of a grievance. And, you got to have something there, I guess. So one little thing I will say is this is an old technique. If you find that you're painting on a small piece of paper like this and it's starting to buckle, you can actually paint on the backside. I paint a wet X with just water, and I'm using the mop brush here so I can get plenty of water. And that will sort of pull backwards, so the paper will buckle in reverse while you're painting. It will still buckle a bit, and you're still going to have a little buckling issues, but that will keep it from buckling and curling the paper to an arch. So you can at least flatten it out in a book, or just, keep it someplace pressed. But I will say this, using these paints was a treat for me, as many people told me when I was posting on Instagram and Facebook about what was coming, and I was doing a slow reveal of each stage of unboxing. Everybody, once they figured out what this was, said the same thing. You are going to love these paints and you're going to have a lot of fun with them. Well, guess what? Just this one painting in and already I'm having a blast. These paints activate really, they're very dense paints. You can tell there's a lot of paint in there. So it takes a little bit of water. You might want to spritz your paints first with water. I take a bead of water and just work it into the pan. They do require a bit of working to get them activated, but once activated, that smell of rosemary comes right out and the colors just pop. And you can see that I'm already just a little bit into the painting and already the colors, they're just fabulous. So if you're looking at other brands, you've got your M-grams that are made with honey, you've got your Sennelier paints that are made with honey. These are traditional paints that are made with raw ingredients. The gum arabic is from a raw gum arabic source. The pigments are powdered raw pigments, and most of the work, I believe, most of the sources that they get from are local sources. So they're getting things as much as they can locally. And they're, again, promoting other businesses like Tintoretto and like Giulio Giannini El Figlio and whoever's making that linen bag for them. And they're doing the One Tree Planted charity as well. So you can see that there's a lot of conversation going on with these paints outside the paints. Now, when it comes just to the paints, okay, so you bought a set, you have it in front of you, and you're going to use it. Are they any good? Are these paints worth the money? Are they worth checking out? I couldn't say yes any faster. Once I got my hands on these and got to try them, I'm in love. I love these paints, you know. I have my place with Daniel Smith. I have my place with M. Graham. I have my place with Schminke. There's so many brands of paint out there. Sennelier is from France. They make theirs with honey. M. Graham makes theirs with honey from the US. Well, now I have an Italian paint that is handmade, and it's made with honey as well. So this is another honey-based paint that I can rely on. And as you can see here, this is consistent with the work that I do and the way I work, and these paints are going to be a joyous addition. I have been looking for a new set. I wanted something completely different, and I have found it with A. Gallo. I hope you enjoyed this video because I can't say enough good things about these A. Gallo paints. They are really hitting the mark on every note, and it's been a pleasure for me to work with A. Gallo and Alina Gallo specifically. And she's been a great person to just collaborate with, and I'm proud to present this video and just showcase their paints in this kind of a special format. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know down below. A special thanks to Alina Gallo and her team for making this collaborative video a possibility. If you haven't subscribed, please do, and I'd love to bring you more content like this in the future. As always, thank you, and God bless.